And essentially, the fat burning zone was, hey, this level of intensity is not burning carbohydrates excessively, which means the ratio that your body is utilizing your stored fat as energy throughout the rest of the day is increased. Our appetite and our physical exertion is not a one-way street. It's a two-way relationship. What that means is the way we engage our appetite impacts our exercise, and the way we engage our exercise impacts our appetite. The simplest way of putting it is that when you are inspired and have a lot of energy and are really ready to push, you can push to the outer limits of your ability, known to us as the effort zone. Now, when you push yourself way out into the effort zone, you stimulate a lot of musculature. You stimulate a lot of challenge to the body, and that muscular challenge increases your appetite. Now, when your appetite increases, and then you go ahead and feed it, you are repairing and rebuilding the musculature. You are adding new musculature. You're adding bone. You're adding cartilage, ligaments, tendons. Your veins and blood vessels are getting healthier. Your nerves are getting healthier. Your gums around your mouth are getting healthier. Your sinuses and the tissues that line your airways are all getting healthier. And when those things get healthier and are fully repaired, your appetite goes down. And as your appetite goes down, if you restrain from eating, you again feel inspired. And from that inspired place, you push yourself out to the effort zone. And this is how we make progress month after month, year after year, decade after decade. Now, part of that feeding process is a feeling of peace. You don't have really big oomph level efforts. You have a sense of calm and a sense of peace. And the slight fuller belly reduces that extra edge and that extra drive. And so when that occurs, in our language, we're going to work within and at the edge of the comfort zone. And when we're within and at the edge of the comfort zone, that movement is so necessary to help us move the food through the digestive tract, to move what we've absorbed out to the tissues where our body needs it with blood supply, and to move all of the damaged tissue out of the body into the circulation, and so we can release it. And so we have to stay within the comfort zone while we're in that more peaceful state. If we overly challenge ourselves in this case, that extra challenge starts to create that suffering effect, that war and famine effect. And so if we stay within the comfort zone, we will again be re-inspired. But if we start to push ourselves too soon, bad things are coming. Now, sometimes we make a mistake. Sometimes we have to learn a lesson. And what does that mean? That means that sometimes I eat and then 20 minutes later, it doesn't feel so good. I ate something I wasn't hungry for in the amount that I was not hungry for it. And so I don't feel well. And when I don't feel well, it wasn't because I necessarily did it on purpose. It was because I didn't realize it until later. And when I realize it later, if I try to punish myself by going into the effort zone, I'm actually just creating more war. What that tells your body is that you just had a chance to eat, but now you're under attack. Instead of having peace and space, you're under attack. You've got to go. So pushing out to the effort zone after feasting, no, that puts you in that suffering effect, and that's going to alter your digestion. It's going to alter your tissue healing, and it's going to store more body fat around the trunk. So when you feast, you might feel slow. You need to do some work within and at the edge of the comfort zone. You might feel lazy when you've feasted. If you feel lazy, the hardest thing to do is still work, but not too much. What does that mean? I feel slow and lazy. I'm going to punish myself and go to the effort zone. Well, then your motivation goes away even more. So I feel slow and lazy. You know what's really difficult? doing some and not too much. That's where the strength is built mentally. That's where the strength is built in your discipline to show up after a mistake, after eating something you weren't hungry for, whether you intended it or not, showing up when you feel slow, showing up when you feel lazy, and doing some work, but being within and at the edge of the comfort zone. When you stay within that comfort zone, you get the same positive benefits of moving that extra food through your digestive tract. You get the positive benefits of clearing out the damage and increasing the blood supply to those tissues. Such a beautiful thing, but super challenging. You might find that you were hungry, but you didn't have the opportunity to eat at that moment. You didn't plan ahead. You were hungry for vegetables, but you forgot to pick some up from the grocery store. You were hungry for some fruit or some meat, but that old habit of like, oh, I'm not supposed to eat fruit after 6 p.m. crept into your mind, and you wake up the next day. You had avoided something you were hungry for, and you feel weak, and you feel reactive. That weak feeling, you still need to show up. And when you show up and do some work at the gym, when you show up for yourself and still challenge, but not too much, you're going to strengthen the signals that tell you what you're hungry for. So what you avoided the day before, you become aware you're hungry for it. It's going to strengthen your discipline to plan accordingly. You showed up to the gym, which means you're going to plan what you have to eat and when you're able to eat it in the future. Now, those are mental things. Physically, when you're in famine, you're hungry for something, but you can't get it. If you can teach your body to release a little bit more of the stored energy, not by overly exaggerating your efforts, but by steadily moving with your efforts within and at the edge of the comfort zone, you're going to reduce the likelihood of famine in the future. What does this mean? In exercise physiology, this is called the fat burning zone. And essentially, the fat burning zone was, hey, this level of intensity is not burning carbohydrates excessively, which means the ratio that your body is utilizing your stored fat as energy throughout the rest of the day is increased. And so if you missed a meal and you don't have a chance to eat, but you have regularly trained your body to be within and at the edge of the comfort zone, you have regularly trained your body to be utilizing that fat burning zone at a slightly higher output, you can still accomplish what you need for the day, get through to the place where you have the opportunity to eat what you're hungry for, but resist the stressful response of the body from being without that food. Simply put, if you've been training successfully and steadily for months on end, and you have a day where you get tied up and can't get to lunch on time, and you got to wait until dinner, instead of your body going quickly into weak and reactive, your edge is going to dull just a little. You're still going to get done what you need to get done, and then you'll make it to your meal without that weakness and reactivity, without the lightheadedness, without the fatigue or the emotional outbursts. You'll just make it through and go, ooh, I'm a little more hungry than normal for dinner. Now I get to feed myself a little bit more, but I wasn't in famine because I trained my body to be steadier through those low times. And so the way our appetite affects our output and the way our output affects our appetite is a two-way street.